we now speak to Ganief Hendricks, who is the leader of the Jama-ah Party. A very good evening to you, sir. Thank you so very much for joining us here on SABC News.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
All right, let's start here. I mean, before we get into, discussions about, the overhauling of Nasfas, I'd like to get your reaction as party leader of Jama-ah on, this audio tape, of course, where, there were some damning allegations and, of course, the CEO, Nasfas, having to resign. And we've heard from other parties where there are calls for the Higher Education Minister, Blade Nzimande, to resign. What has been, your reaction to this all? And now you also part of those calls asking that the minister does the honourable thing, as has been said, by stepping down.
Look, we didn't say that anyone must step down. Our position is that the investigation must be allowed to continue. There are claims that there are recordings which indicates that there has been corruption. Jama-ah's position is that NSFAS has been under investigation by the SIU since 2022. And we are a bit disappointed that that investigation is still pending. And the reason for that is because the SIU does not have funds to do the investigations properly. In fact, after the investigation is done, then they bill the relevant department. So there's a cash flow problem and a delay. And we are really worried that this time, with the accusation against the minister and also the accusations against the Communist Party and accusation against the chairman of the board of NSFAS, that there won't be enough money to fund the investigation. And that's why we are calling on government to do something about this, because it affects so many students. Our information is that over nearly 100,000 students who qualify for funding won't be funded this year. Also, there has been delays with regard to disbursing monies, and students will once again sleep in corridors, won't have money for food, and this is a very bad start to this year. But we are concerned that that is the case for the last 3-4 years. Every year we have this problem, and that is completely unacceptable.
We've heard other political parties saying that there needs to be what they've termed, a complete overhaul at NSFAS. Firstly, is that what you, or those, do you support that? But also, what would this sort of overhaul look like? And wouldn't that further disturb the students that you're talking about? You go hungry, sleep on corridors. Would that not in itself cause a secondary issue?
Yes, I agree with you. Look, the Minister of Higher Education, his best endeavors has been recognized. There has been improvements. He has also found that there are certain students in the middle sort of income group that has not been assisted, and he has gone to Treasury for extra funds. So the Minister of Higher Education, he has started the overhaul already. We don't need another overhaul. It's just that this allegation has now emerged, and it is disrupting the Minister of Higher Education's efforts to stabilize the funding and the disbursement. As you know, that it revolves around the direct payments that is made to students by certain service providers, and it is claimed that they are actually have bribed the minister and the Communist Party and also the chairman of NSFAS. So we feel that there's no overhaul necessary. It's a question of good governance and an opportunity to give the minister to complete what he has set out to do. He has a good team around him. I've met some of the members of this team. They are very keen to make sure that this year we won't have the problems in the previous years. And now OTA is causing disruption and instability. But if they say they have these recordings, one can't ignore it. But they should allow the minister to do his job. And it's a vital period this year. And I would imagine that we must just wait for the investigation to roll out and see what the findings are.
Yeah, of course, the DA wouldn't agree with you. As I'm sure you know, they've opened a criminal case against the Minister of Higher Education. And when I spoke to them, I think earlier this week, and asked about, what they think is, the key issues, the key problems when we're talking about Nasfas, they put it as, corruption being the main issue, saying there's other issues, yes, but the issue of corruption being the main issue. Do you agree that corruption is a bigger issue? I mean, you seem to support, you say that, the minister has a great team around him, so so it seems to me that you don't necessarily agree.
No, look, the DA is mischievous. They're creating this, they're trying to cause instability in the city of Joburg, where Al-Jama-ah is an executive mayor. They're trying to cause instability wherever they can. And they've now got these recordings that they also now want to use for a court case. A court case takes 3 or 4 years. We have to think about, they could have waited a bit. The minister, it's the beginning of the year, students are returning to campuses. There needs to be proper funding, and so the DA just wants to disrupt the studies of students, and they may be doing it indirectly. So now they found an ideal way to try and bring the government into disrepute. We must allow the Minister of Higher Education to do his job. With regard to this court case, I haven't heard about the case number yet. It is just that the DA's strategy in the run-up to the election is to cause instability wherever they can. And now they've picked on the education of our young people, who is the future of our country. So I treat it with a pinch of salt. You don't trust the DA in the run-up to the election. They just want to cause instability where they can. And this is now a wonderful opportunity for them to do so.
All right, Ganief Hendricks, thanks very much for giving us your time this evening. That is Ganief Hendricks reacting, of course, to the fact that some political parties in Parliament are calling for complete overhaul of NSFAS. So that is Ganief Hendricks, leader of Al-Jama-ah.